Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room.
and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here from the beautiful Pocono Raceway. It is the tricky triangle here this evening as the Premium Stock Car Racing League ready to rumble, ready to duke it out again here this evening for what should be another amazing night of racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming, as each and every one of these drivers are ready to rumble. They're ready to rock and roll here this evening as they'll get ready to duke it out. Now, I do believe for some reason my live timing just does not seem to want to work here tonight. Bear with us on that one. We'll try to get it figured out, try to get it working throughout the broadcast. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's working now. It did not want to work throughout our practice session before we went live, so I'm glad that it is working, that it is up there for you guys to see and enjoy and be able to see where all your favorite drivers are out there on the speedways. The Raw Beaver coming in, showing the love, says, let's go, let's go, let's go, baby. My boy Fletcher in the house as well with the emotes. Let's go, baby. Let's go, chat. Let's get it. You guys know what to do. If you guys are just tuning in and you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, man. Hit the like button on the broadcast for us right now. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's get ready for a great night of racing action here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. As drivers going to get lined up here on the front straightaway, each and every one of them ready to rock and roll, ready to go to battle. As starting in the pole position, it's hard to get a good angle here of these race cars, but here we go. Okay, starting on the pole in the Blue Bulls Chevrolet, it is the 09 of Wesley Burke who will start out in front to his outside. In the Fireball Whiskey number 7, it's Nathan Brookover. Starting in position number 3 in the number 28 ride, it is the Pokemon, the Pikachu machine of Mr. Jordan Hand. To his outside in the 4 ride, it's the Majors Garage ride of Isaiah Adams, starting there in 4th. Starting back in the 5th position in the beautiful Mountain Dew, the Do ride, that is Willie Smith to his outside. Newcomer here in the Great Lakes Sim number 50 machine, it's William George, who will start in position number 6. Starting back in 7th in the 31 ride, that is Brandon Holder. As Holder starting there in 7th, to his outside will be the 6th ride of Mr. Brian Underwood. Starting in position number 9 in the 14 ride is that Home Depot Rigid ride of Mr. Jack Fletcher. To his outside will be that 31 ride of Brandon Holder. Will start in 9th. I believe it is the 9 of Melvin Brenger starting to his outside here. Something's gotten broken up here on the start, but we do see these guys all starting up inside the top 10. Scott Lee's back in 11th with Danny White. Jeremy Jeffries and Nicholas Torres there in 14th. Sean Merriman going to start in the 15th position with Farrell Robbins, Abram Ghostin there in position number 17. Then we see Grant Wesley in that beautiful Menards number 88 ride. Right behind him in the 19th spot will be Josh Crider to his outside, running at our top 20 in the beautiful Clemson Tiger Toyota. Number 3, it's Jonathan Elardo rounding out the top 20 out there on the Speedway. Starting in 21st, last season's champion in that Bourbon Hills Barbecue, the Gastons Graphics number 72 machine, is Mr. Jonathan Gaston, starting there in 21st. He was outside another Great Lakes Sim machine, that is the 51 of TJ Allen, starting there in 22nd. Starting back in 23rd, another newcomer here to the series in the 87, it is Brian Cook. To his outside in the 33 is Jordan Crider, back in 25th in that beautiful Gorilla Garage Doors number 13. It's Robert Wolf bringing up the rear of the field as here we go, ending all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here from Pocono Raceway. As drivers start to spread out 2, 3, a little bit of 4 wide back there deeper through the field as everyone's trying to navigate their way to the front of the pack. Now each and every one of these drivers, they know this is going to be a long race. This is a big racetrack. It is the longest straightaway here. That front straightaway, the longest straightaway in NASCAR. So for each and every one of these drivers, it's a big track, a wide track, but it is very tricky. It is definitely one of those racetracks that is very challenging to get around, as all 3 corners, because it's not 4 corners, it's a triangle, all 3 corners Very, very difficult to get around. They're all different. They're all different angles. They're different arcs. They're different entry and exit points. It makes things very, very difficult to have good balance in your race car. And, you know, maybe 2 of the 3 corners is a good car. It is very, very tough to get a good car in all 3 corners. So you just got to be on your tippy toes. You got to make sure you figure out the best balance to help you out in all 3 corners of this speedway and try to put yourself into the winning position. As Wesley Burke leads lap number 1 here this evening. Burke is out in front. He continues to lead the way as he'll lead us back down into corner number 2 here at Pocono Raceway. And then Jordan Hand's right there on his back bumper here. Brookover back in 3rd with Brandon Holder in position number 4, looking for more here. Holder's already making some moves, racing his way up towards the front. And you see that beautiful iRacing Bass Pro Shops Great Lakes Sim at number 50 ride of William George right there just inside our top 5. Now there is a black flag here on Nathan Brookover. I'm not sure if Brookover knows this. I don't know if it was something with the initial start, but nonetheless Brookover did get a black flag, so he's gonna have to be looking to get that cleared by one of the admins, or he may have to serve a penalty down pit side here during green flag conditions, and that is not a fun spot to be if you are Nathan Brookover, because that's gonna put you way back here. It's gonna probably take you out of contention of some stage points out there on the racetrack, as you do take a look at Isaiah Adams working his way up there. He's working to the back bumper of that 7 ride. Brookover's trying to stay down the inside. I feel like he is getting prepared to make a trip down pit side here. Is there 3 wide right there behind him? Oh baby, 3 wide. It gets tight in a quick hurry down through corner number 3, but all these drivers trying to keep themselves pointed the right direction, and obviously you can see Brookover. Here comes Fletcher. They're all poking their nose right into that battle, as he did see the 7 ride, unfortunately, having to serve the black flag that he had here. So for the Fireball, number 7 ride, he'll make his way down pit side. He'll serve his penalty. Now, luckily enough, this is a big enough racetrack that he can come down, serve the penalty, will not go a lap down here. That is the good news for Nathan Brookover, that he should stay on the lead lap, should not fall a lap down out there on the speedway. But for all these other drivers, man, the battle's on, and here we go. Burke under fire once again. The 28 ride at Jordan Hand had to really get checked up right there. Luckily enough, does get a bit of a pushing help from that 31 of Brandon Holder. It's Holder right to his back bumper, but the 50 ride trying to work his way out in front here. William George looking hooked up here this evening in that Great Lakes Sim number 50 ride, as he's trying to navigate his way up and into position number 2 here. Unfortunately, no drafting help down this front straightaway. Looks like that outside is going to prevail. So for Hand and Holder, they'll move up into 2nd and 3rd solidly once again. George will fall back into position number 4. It's Jack Fletcher, our boy Fletcher, out there battling here. He's door to door with the Majors Garage number 4 ride of Isaiah Adams, as they duke it out here for that 5th spot on the speedway. You take a look back right behind them. Danny White, Brian Underwood, they're door to door. They're beating and banging. They're leaning on one another. You throw Grant Wesley, who's already up 8 positions on the speedway here. Wesley's really navigated his way through the traffic nicely. He's got this Menards ride up inside the top 10 and looking for some more spots out there on the speedway. Just kind of getting locked in right there behind those guys. And now we do see Sean Merriman also coming down pit road here. Same with Gaston and Abram Ghostin making early pit stops here on lap number 5. So I feel like these drivers can probably only go about 13, maybe 14 laps here to a tank of fuel. So we should see everybody probably have to make green flag pit stops here at some point in time throughout this stage. And I believe, with that being said, obviously, you pit a little earlier. You're trying to get that quick splash and go. You're trying to save as much time as you can down pit side. And I think for these 3, that was the game plan. Pit earlier. You're going to give up a lot of track position, everything else. But even if there's a caution flag, then at least you kind of leapfrog everyone in front of you. And at the same point in time, as they kind of come down pit road, if they run for another 3, 4, 5 laps or better, you know, they may end up having to sit down pit side for a little bit longer here to try to get their tanks filled up out there on the racetrack, as now we do see Brian Underwood, Jeremy Jeffries, looks like they're going to go with that game plan as well. Bill Pitt here on lap number 6. So early on here, already starting to see some green flag pit stops for these drivers. Is out in front, Brandon Holder. He's going to take that race lead down the back straightaway here into corner number 2. Burke's going to battle hard, though, back to the outside. He's going to try to pin him down out of corner number 2 here, and here comes a good run from William George as he's looking to move that Chevrolet to the point here as, man, Chevys 1, 2, 3, and 4 out there on the speedway. Jack Fletcher back there in position number 5, our first Toyota up there on the racetrack. So right now, Chevy's kind of dominating the front of the field as we do see another Chevy headed down pit road. It's Melvin Branger who's going to pit here on lap number 7. Looks like Josh Crider's going to come down pit side with them there in his beautiful Rubbered Up Productions. Lonnie Crider, that Gastons Graphics SpongeBob Season 2 champion paint scheme, rolling out there on the racetrack, and he'll hit his pit stall, and unfortunately, I think he went a little too far right there. Had to throw it into reverse. That's going to cost him a couple seconds here. That could definitely take Crider out of an opportunity for some stage points here this evening. That little bit of a slip up, but he's going to come down pit side and exit pit lane right there with Melvin Branger, so he's going to stick right there with that 9 ride, but out in front, the 09 of Wesley Burke. Wesley continues to lead the way here. The 09 hooked up here this evening as Jordan Hand, Brandon Holder have been all over his back bumper. You throw William George right into that battle. These guys have been duking it out, slicing and dicing it here at the front of the field, and it's starting to bring in a few more of these competitors into their battle as here comes Jack Fletcher, that number 64 of Danny White, the 4 ride of Isaiah Adams. He's looking to join this fight at the front of the field as Grant Wesley, Jonathan Elardo, and Nicholas Torres, our top 10 out there on the speedway. TJ Allen in the Great Lakes Sim, number 51 ride. He rolls there in position number 11 with Farrell Robbins. New paint scheme here for Robbins, rolling there in position number 12. Willie Smith, who started up inside the top 5, started in that 5th position. Unfortunately here for the Mountain Dew number 75 ride of Willie Smith is falling all the way back into that 13th position. He's got Brian Cook right there behind him in that 87 ride. Robert Wolf there in at 15th in that beautiful Gorilla Garage Doors number 13 ride. Broke over, who we saw serve that penalty coming down pit road through the pass-through penalty, rolls there in 16th. Underwood in 17th. Sean Merriman, Jeremy Jeffries, Jonathan Gaston, Abram Ghostin, Josh Crider back in 22nd, Melvin Branger is in 23rd, and then we do see Jordan Crider back in 24th. Unfortunately, it looks like Scott Lee only ran about 6.5 laps here, 6.53 laps, and it looks like he may have a lost connection here to the server. I didn't see anything happen to Scott Lee, so I'm not sure if there was something that went wrong for him, if there was something that happened to Mr. Lee, but nonetheless, he ends up off the racing surface and no longer out there on the speedway, and it looks like as he's down pit side, his day may be done, or at least his chances of potentially trying to win this race may be out the window, as we do see Brandon Holder here on lap number 10. He'll make his way down pit side. So Holder hits pit road here. He's going to come down pit side all by his lonesome here. The only one of our front runners to make their way down pit lane is out in front. It is still a dogfight right here behind Wesley Burke. I don't know how Burke has been able to keep this 09 ride out in front, but not only that, I don't know how some of these guys have been able to keep their car pointed in the right direction as they've been moving. They've been slicing and dicing back and forth up there at the front of the field, battling hard here for this race lead and obviously pushing hard, burning up a lot of that fuel. We should probably see our race leaders down pit road here in the next few laps, so we're going to quickly see more and more of them start to peel off, head down pit side, as I believe nobody can make it to the end of stage number 1 on the completion of lap number 20. So I think everyone's going to be down pit road before that moment in time, as you do see William George in the Great Lakes Sim number 50 machine. He's down pit side. Looks like Nicholas Torres also going to pit here with him in that number 20 ride. So for the Target Mart number 20, he'll hit his pit stall. The crew will go to work. They'll get some fuel into that 20 machine. He'll get ready to roll back out. And unfortunately, as we see Brookover, he's coming down pit road. He was already going to be behind the field here. He needed to make this pit stop to get fuel this time after already serving a black flag penalty early in this race. Unfortunately for Nathan Brookover, too fast entering pit road. He's the only driver that is came down pit side technically twice this afternoon, but he's also the only driver to earn a black flag here down pit side as well. And for our outside pole sitter here, man, it seemed like it was going to be a good day. It seemed like it was going to be a great start to the evening for Nathan Brookover, and I don't know where it went wrong, but something went astray here for that number 7 ride. And for Brookover, he finds himself now going to get this hole down pit road. The crew is going to have to sit there, wait for the officials to allow him to leave his pit stall, and unfortunately this will more than likely at least put him a lap down here, even to the drivers that had already made their additional pit stop here in this stage. So for Brookover, good news is that if no one else loses a lap, he should be in line for the lucky dog here at the completion of our first stage of the day. So we'll have to wait and see if that will be on the line for him here this evening, as we do see another couple of drivers head down pit road. Here comes that Clemson Tiger number 3 machine of Mr. Jonathan Elardo. He's down pit side. Here comes Farrell Robbins, also down pit side here in the Blue Chew number 76. All right, the Blue Chew ride. I mean, I always see the commercials for these. I don't even know what the heck Blue Chew is. I'm assuming it's like Viagra, right? Is that what Blue Chew is, chat? Let me know in the comment section. Is that what Blue Chew is? It's just Viagra, is it not? It's just like a different name? Like, you get it like over the counter? Well, I've never had to use one of these things, so I have no idea. But man, you know, one of those nights you want to get bricked up, have a good time, have some fun. I mean, maybe you guys should try out a little Blue Chew. As here we go, back down at a corner number 3 here at Pocono Speedway. Our front runners are still not backing down, and they're still not coming down pit road after 14 laps of battling here on the speedway. And for the 09 of Wesley Burke, continues to hold on to this top spot. Burke continues to lead the way here in what has been an incredible start to this race. Everyone doing a great job keeping it clean, keeping it green, having some great battles out there on the speedway, but it has not been very easy for Burke to stay out in front. He's had his hands full and now sees another challenger working to his back bumper, the 64, and Danny White. He wants to taste the race lead, but trying to use that inside groove down and through corner number 2 just does not work out for him, and unfortunately he's going to end up losing a couple spots here, as there goes Jordan Hand around him. Here comes that 14 of Jack Fletcher. But it looks like for the first time here this evening, we will get a new race leader as Wesley Burke hits pit side. Burke heads down pit road, and this will be our first new race leader, the 28 of Jordan Hand. Hand in the Pikachu ride, now out in front. He leads the charge, but how much farther can these drivers go? How much farther can they push the subject here when it comes to fuel out there in their race cars? Because obviously we've seen now with Burke and Robert Wolf down pit road, only our top 7 drivers have yet to make their way down pit side. Brian Cook, TJ Allen, who's back in 6th, Grant Wesley, Isaiah Adams, Danny White, Jack Fletcher, and Jordan Hand are the only 7 drivers yet to come down pit road, and it looks for our top 5. They're going to stick with it. They're going to at least roll another lap out there on the speedway. So for Jordan Hand, Fletcher, Danny White, they're going to stay out here. They're not coming down pit road. Looks like TJ Allen's going to stay out as well, but here comes Brian Cook. So Cook will pit here on the completion of lap number 16, and for our race leaders, they get 4 more laps left to go here in this stage. Now, I'm not sure what the strategy call is going to be here. If you're Jordan Hand, if you're Jack Fletcher, is it just trying to run these things close to empty, trying to make that last pit, that last couple lap dip down pit side here, put a little splash of gas and go, and hope that you can kind of roll back out onto the racetrack, hope to try and stay in front of the 6th rider Brian Underwood and Wesley Burke, as right now if the top 6 do come down pit road, more than likely it will cycle Wesley Burke back to the point. Now, here we go. They can't go any farther, so 17 laps. is virtually the farthest distance that we're going to see here out of a lot of these drivers, all 6 that were yet to come down pit road. Hit pit sign this time is Hand, Fletcher, Grant Wesley, Danny White, Isaiah Adams, and TJ Allen all hit pit road here on the completion of lap number 17. And now we'll have to keep an eye out here. Where does Wesley Burke come into it? Where does Jordan Hand get to leave his pit stall here as these drivers make their pit stops? It seems like for Hand, a little bit of a slower stop right there. Jack Fletcher is going to come out in the top spot, but all that speed and momentum, it's going to be Wesley Burke who's going to drive right back around him. Burke will jump right back out in front. Fletcher will come out of the pits in position number 2. Brian Underwood looks like he'll slide into 3rd here as the 88 of Grant Wesley will be right there with them. Brandon Holder now in 5th. William George back in 6th with Jonathan Elardo, Sean Merriman, Jordan Hand there in 9th, and Danny White rounding out our top 10 here after those green flag pit stops as things cycle all the way through here. Unfortunately, only one driver still rolling out there on the racetrack. This number 7 ride of Nathan Brookover. Brookover is the only driver a lap down out on the speedway right now, and unfortunately for Brookover, that's put him into a bad spot. Tough spot out there as he's not going to earn or have a chance at any stage points here, but as the stage does come to a close, he will be in line for the lucky dog. He'll be able to get back on the lead lap. That is a huge benefit and a huge break there for that number 7 ride, getting back into the battle as you see the 09 machine. Wesley Burke snaking it down the straightaway here, trying to keep that 14 ride of Jack Fletcher off his back bumper. Fletcher continues to try to work his way around him, trying to work his way, obviously to the back bumper of that number 09 ride. But right now, man, Burke has just been, he's just been doing such a good job out in front. Other than that couple laps where drivers were kind of down pit road and making these pit stops and everything else, makes things very, very interesting as they complete lap number 19. There's only 1 lap left to go and just trying to get a little bit of draft off the back bumper of the 09. Even if he starts to catch it here, I don't think he's going to have enough time. It's one thing to catch the 09 of Wesley Burke. It's another thing to try to jump up and steal the spot away from him as they head down the Long Pond straightaway here at Pocono Speedway. They head down into the tunnel curve here at the racetrack, into that tunnel turn here, down through corner number 2. They'll head down and through the North Straight here at Pocono Speedway and head in to the Big Bend here. So they call it the Big Bend out there on the racetrack as, let me see if we can get some track information here. Pocono Raceway chat. We want some little track ticks, kind of some different things here as obviously it's got 3 turns on it. It's the tricky triangle. The main straightaway is the longest in North America at 3,740 feet. The longest straightaway is here at Pocono Speedway as the stage does come to a close as the 09 of Wesley Burke picks up the stage win. Fletcher will come home in 2nd there. Unfortunately, just could not reel in, could not close that gap and get to the back bumper there. Wesley Burke on the final lap. Brian Underwood will come home in 3rd with Grant Wesley. Jonathan Elardo, our top 5 here in the stage. William George, Jordan Hand, Sean Merriman, Brandon Holder, Danny White, our top 10 here in stage number 1. Unfortunately for Jonathan Gaston, TJ Allen, Abram Ghostin, Isaiah Adams, they are unfortunately on the outside of the top 10 looking in. No stage points there for them as our top 10. All earned stage points, getting those extra bonus points into their back pocket as the 09 of Burke will check up here. He'll wait for the official iRacing pace car to catch up to them, and they'll get ready to, probably come down pit road here. I'm not sure really what we're going to see, if drivers are going to be, allotted to really want to come down pit road and put tires on. I feel like everyone is probably going to come down pit road, get fuel, get tires here, and I think we're going to see a few drivers maybe try to stretch the fuel out as well. I got a sneaky suspicion that stage number 2, it's going to be a little bit shorter here. Stage number 2 will be at the completion of lap number 40 here. So we've already ran technically now 21 laps. As they make their pit stops, it'll be 22 laps. I think probably when we go back to green flag racing, it's going to be closer to that, 16, 17 laps in this stage to kind of run it out without any other caution flags. And we saw drivers make it to lap number 17. So you got to wonder, is that going to be a question mark? Now you got to kind of roll out there for another lap or two. So I think if this is a 16-lap run, I think you could see a few drivers trying to save a little bit of fuel, play it safe here, try to put themselves into a good position to try to, maybe make it here without making a green flag pit stop in this second stage of the day as they head down the longest straightaway here in North America. And down into their pit stalls, looks like everyone's coming down pit side here. Here comes Robert Wolf as well. Brookover, he is going to stay out because he's going to get the lucky dog here. So for Brookover, he'll be back onto the lead lap. But let's go through some more interesting things here. So turn 1 is about 14 degrees. Turn 2 is 8 to 9 degrees in banking, and turn 3 is 6 degrees in banking. So that's some pretty interesting kind of ways that it's been kind of turned over, and it's been kind of based on 3 different speedways. So turn 1 is inspired by Trenton Speedway. Turn 2 is kind of banked off and mirrored off of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then turn 3, 6-degree banking, is based off of the Milwaukee Mile. So kind of like 3 different racetracks, kind of took 3 different corners from those racetracks to create this tricky triangle. And that's what we're talking about at the top of the show, as it is very, very hard to find the right balance, to find the right gearing, the right speed, the right, balance in your race car to be able to be good not only in 1 or 2 corners, but to be good in all 3 corners is very, very hard. But this is definitely a very fun racetrack, and it's got some really, really cool history to it as well. It's been traditionally a 400 or 500 mile long race for NASCAR, and I believe it's been in the NASCAR series since 1974. First year my Philadelphia Flyers NHL hockey team won a Stanley Cup, 1974. That is absolutely crazy. The venue houses a 25-acre solar farm as well, nearly 40,000 solar panels that powers the track and feeds the local grid as well. That is actually kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. As turn 2 bumps, known as the tunnel turn, this section often challenges drivers with bumps requiring significant suspension compliance. Yeah, that is one of those big things too that really kind of makes this very, very interesting, very fun to see drivers trying to make it down there through that area. And I believe the first ever winner here at Pocono Raceway in 1974 was none other than the king, Richard Petty himself. Richard Petty won the first race here, so that's pretty cool as well. That is actually pretty awesome. Richard Petty winning the first race here. I mean, 200 Cup Series wins there for Richard Petty, 7 NASCAR champions, man. For any one of these drivers to put their, name into that, into that kind of area is really something to be proud of, man. This is another one of those very old, very, historic racetracks here in the NASCAR schedule, and it's always super, super fun to come here, man. Good green flag racing, some crazy wild wrecks from the speed that these drivers carry down the racetrack, and obviously down that very long straightaway here as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to battle, and it will be a 16-lap shootout. So I think more than likely we're going to see a ton of drivers here going to try to make this without coming down pit road. There still may be a few takers and maybe a few drivers that say, hey, you know what, maybe I'll flip the stage, maybe I'll pit a lap or two prior to the end of the stage, especially if you're not in line for stage points or you don't really care for the stage points. Then there could be those gamblers to try to flip the stage, end up at the front of the field, have that track position to start the final stage of this feature event. But for a lot of these drivers, if you're trying to earn those stage points, this is going to be a way to do it. You just got to be very, very careful. You got to be mindful that not only do you have to make it to the end of the stage, but you virtually got to run another 2 laps out there on the racetrack in a 2.5-mile speedway. This is a long way around this racetrack, so you got to be very cautious of that as well on when you're going to be, back down pit road. So you virtually got to run it another 2 laps longer than I think you're game planning. So I think for a lot of these drivers, we could see some of them right out of the get-go maybe starting to try to save here, trying to just roll out of the throttle a little bit more, trying to save a little bit of fuel, trying to put themselves into a position that they can not only, finish the stage, maybe get the stage win, but also get back down pit road and not have to risk getting a penalty or having to tow or hoping to have somebody trying to push you down pit side out there on the speedways. They head down into the Big Bend corner here at corner number 3. Turn 3 here, as there is no turn 4. That's why they got the what? Turn 4 up on that outside fence there, as it's always been kind of the running theme here. What turn 4 is? There is no turn 4 here at Pocono, and for each and every one of these drivers, they know it, and they're showing it here as they're trying to put themselves right up and into the battle as Burke continues to hold on to the top spot, continues to lead the way as Brian Underwood rolls there in second. Jack Fletcher there in third. You still see Burke kind of, snaking it down these straightaways here, trying to put himself into a position where, maybe he can try to work his way a little farther from these guys. Obviously, the draft is a big thing here, and the drivers that are in behind you, if they can kind of get that little bit of a draft, that little bit of, a bubble in behind your back bumper, it can kind of pull them right to you and right to your back bumper out there on the racetrack. And if Burke wants to try to break that and try to dump some dirty air under their nose, try to slow them down a little bit, you gotta snake it down these straightaways. And Burke has been shown that he's a master at that here throughout this race. And obviously, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. As you see down into corner number 1, that 6 ride of Brian Underwood shot in there a little bit deeper, a little bit farther, got right to the back bumper there of Burke, and quickly Burke at a corner number 2 is going to jump down to the inside here, try to drop that, dirty air onto the nose of the 6 ride, try to slow him down a little bit, but it is not really affecting this 6 ride at all. It seems like Underwood's got a pretty solid race car here this afternoon, as well as Jack Fletcher, as Fletcher rolls there in 30. See the 88 rider, Grant Wesley. He's up into position number 4 and looking for more. One of our other race leaders here throughout this feature event, Jordan Hand. He's right there in a battle for that 5th position. Him and Jonathan Elardo door to door there for position number 6, and it looks like Elardo with that outside momentum will jump up and snag that 5th spot away from Jordan Hand. And now here comes 31 of Holder. Here comes Danny White right back into the picture. The 50 rider, William George, trying to work his way back up into the fight here at the front of the field. Let's see a few more of these drivers back there a little deeper in the pack, being a little bit more mindful, maybe a little bit easier on their fuel, trying to make it to the end of this stage. Take a look at Gaston, Merriman, TJ Allen, Isaiah Adams, Willie Smith, kind of a secondary pack being built up back here a little deeper in the field. You see Josh Crider, he's right in the middle of that battle. Brenger is there, as well as Farrell Robbins, the 20 of Nicholas Torres. Robert Wolf is in there, that 22 of Abram Ghostin, and Jordan Crider back there in 22nd in that 33 ride. He's got Brian Cook there on his back bumper. Unfortunately, we saw on that restart, the driver that got the lucky dog, that 7 ride, unfortunately, quite a ways back behind the field here, did not get back lined up with the pack in time. We saw them taking the green flag as he was headed down through corner number 3. Unfortunately, was not with them, and that gave him a bit of a, 5-6 second gap between himself and Brian Cook out there on the racetrack. So again, for Brooke over it, he was back in the battle. Maybe he could have gained some good positions, but needs this caution flag as the yellow flag is displayed. Caution flag is out as we see a couple drivers turned around. Fletcher's in it. Brandon Holder's in it. Oh no. Big hit here for Jonathan Elardo. You see Holder, he's turned around. The 64 ride of Danny White, he's tied up in it. Some big hits here. Let's take a look a little farther forward at Jack Fletcher's. It may start here with this 14 ride. So down into the tunnel turn. 14 ride sends it in there, and it's, contact from our race leaders. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's break this down again. So it looks like that sixth ride of Mr. Underwood gets a big run. Shoots down to the inside here. Wesley Burke trying to steal that top spot away from him. Unfortunately, Burke kind of comes down, maybe trying to throw a little bit of a block here, maybe trying to keep that six right back there at bay. I don't think he realized that Brian was going to come in with such a big runner. I think Brian maybe just misjudged his entry point there. Gets right into that left rear quarter panel of the 09. That just knocks the rear end out here on that 09 of Burke. And then you're going to watch everyone else fly into this. Everyone's trying to work their way through it. And unfortunately, as they're, 3-4 wide right here, one car just kind of getting pointed back in the right direction. I think for Mr. Fletcher here, he's going to get a bad end of this one, man. He's going to get tore up and tied up here in this in a quick Curious Fletcher. He's going to send it in here. He sees it starting to happen. He gets checked up, and then everyone else kind of just keeps piling into it. Looked like maybe the 28 ride also getting checked up, and I believe the 3 ride of Jonathan Elardo gets in there. Unfortunately, gets right into the rear end of the 28 ride. Shoots the 28 of hand up and into Fletcher. Fletcher bounces it off the outside fence. The 3 runs into the back end of the 09 ride. Pretty solid contact there for all 3 of them. That's where you see Holder. Jeremy Jeffries ends up getting a big chunk into this one as well, man. Jeffries really tore up there. And then you do see Danny White also getting tied up in it as well. He's turned around. He's into the 1 ride. Some pretty solid damage for all 5 of those drivers. Actually, technically, I'd throw 6 drivers into that group, as Wesley Burke got quite a bit of damage out of it as well in that 09 ride. Burke had some very solid rear end damage there, and obviously some pretty worn out tires as well. I'm sure he's not going to be very happy with how that played out, and now everyone's going to head down pit side. Here we go. We see Burke's down pit road, Willie Smith's down pit side, Holder, Wolf, Farrell Robbins is down there. We did see Jonathan Elardo getting his car repaired. He's back out onto the racetrack here. I believe he used a quick repair up. Jack Fletcher still trying to get his car fixed up. Same with Danny White as well, as that caution flag right in the dab middle of our second stage of the day. Gonna make things very interesting, as I believe that's gonna give everybody enough fuel here. They should be able to save enough fuel here throughout this caution flag that they will be able to make it to the end of stage number 2 and beyond with no issues here. So I don't think we're really going to see anyone else come down pit road, or at least no green flag pit stops here in this second stage here this afternoon. And for Brian Underwood, made that initial contact with the 09 ride. You're going to wonder if there's any right front damage here to this number 6 ride. Doesn't really look like there's any damage or anything here to that Rumple Minge number 6 machine. And unfortunately here for the 09, the 31, the 14, so many of those other drivers, they got tore up. And for Underwood, he sits at the front of the field here, barely a scratch on this race car, and he holds on to the top position, looking to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay and hoping to work his way into stage win number 2 here this evening. As I do believe this time by the start finish line, the lights will click off the official iRacing pace car, and we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here this evening. Stage number 2 gonna quickly come to a close, and now you gotta wonder, how hard do some of those drivers back there deeper in the field, how hard do they push? Do we see potentially that Blue Bull 09 ride of Wesley Burke trying to work his way back up towards the front, obviously wanting to try to, win this stage, get those points, try to have those in his back pocket here for the rest of this feature event? Or do we see, maybe drivers like Jack Fletcher, Brandon Holder, do they be aggressive? Do they try to navigate their way throughout the top 20 here to work their way back to the point? What about Danny White, Jeremy Jeffries, that 3 machine of Jonathan Elardo, who's now scored back in 24th out there on the speedway, as Brookover, who had gotten the lucky dog, went a lap down there in that first stage, got the lucky dog there at the end of stage number 1, kind of fell back and didn't really get lined up with the rest of the field. Starting this second stage was about 6 seconds back of the rear of the field, right out of the hop there, right out of the get-go for the second stage. Now here he is right back into the thick of it, right back into the middle of the battle as he scored in the 13th position. Getting ready for this restart. We'll see if Brokover can try to navigate his way up there, man. Without this caution flag, I think he would have went without any stage points here this afternoon, or really any good chance or opportunity to earn stage points. But now, with this yellow flag, it's brought him right back into the battle, right back into the mix, where maybe some stage points are in line and an opportunity here for Brokover to kind of pounce on this opportunity. Maybe even drivers like, Josh Crider back there in 11th. Can Crider jump up and get some points? What about that 33 of Jordan Crider? Newcomers to the series, Isaiah Adams restarting there in 9th. Can he earn some big stage points out there on the racetrack? Or TJ Allen, some of these guys that are new to the series, can they jump up there and make a name for themselves in race number 1 and earn some good stage points and set themselves up nicely here for the final stage of the day, as William George, another newcomer here to the series in that Great Lakes Sim number 50 ride, rolling there and at that 4th position, battling door to door with last season's champion, that 72 ride of Jonathan Gaston. Gaston works that Bourbon Hills Barbecue, number 72 around him though, up and into that 4th position. His lookout back behind him, they're wrecking again. Oh, big hits back here, big hits, and unfortunately a bunch of the drivers that we saw tore up in the first caution flag of the day tore up here in this one as well, and this may be game over here for a couple of these drivers, man. Big hits for Danny White. You see him crab walking down the back straightaway here into the Big Bend turn 3, and then you do see, I believe, Jonathan Ilardo, he's tore up in this one again. Jeremy Jeffries, he's got a ton of damage on the one ride. See that thing kind of crab walking there as well, and we did see Wesley Burke also get tied up in this. So our second caution flag here in stage number 2, and there is a picture you do not want to be a part of as you see that 09 ride already kind of up in the air right here. And we talked about how these drivers may be a little bit more aggressive back there deeper in the field, trying to race their way back to the front, and unfortunately here, I think that's exactly what we're going to see. So I think the 09 ride here of Burke, he's going to send it into corner number 2. The 33 ride of Jordan Crider's right there in front of him. I believe Jordan just kind of slides up the racetrack here a little bit. The 09 sends it in there a little deeper, makes a little bit of contact with him. That gets 33 ride sideways, solid contact there. Looks like Willie Smith also gets some contact into it. You do see Burke up into the air, up into the outside fence. Pretty solid contact and damage there for that 09 ride, but the hits just keep on coming back behind these guys as Jordan Crider kind of washes down. He kind of washes right back down into the lap of a lot of these other drivers. Take a look at Abram Ghostin. He gets tagged right there. Big hit into the 33. Then here comes the one ride, that 78 ride. They get tied up into it. You look at Jonathan Ilardo in the 64. They're trying to get through here, and unfortunately for Danny White and Ilardo, man, they just kind of they just run out of room here, or they just try to get onto the binders. Maybe, oh, okay, there we go. So a little contact there. As the one ride did not see it as quickly as the 64 ride. Danny White's trying to get checked up and down low. The one ride still rolling on the throttle into corner number 2. Gets up into him, tags him, turns him down the racetrack. And then the 3 ride just trying to split the middle, trying to keep himself out of the carnage. Unfortunately, loses it. Washes down into that infield safer barrier. Solid hit there for Ilardo. And man, that was some big hits. A lot of drivers tore up out there on the speedway, man. A lot of these guys all of a sudden gonna be down pit road for what could be a very extended period of time, especially if they've already used up their quick repairs out there on the speedway. And some really big hits here. A lot of tore up race cars back there deeper in the field, man. This is a big hit right there for the 1, the 33, the 64 ride. I think they get the worst end of all of it there as they kind of bounced off one another off the fences here. Obviously for the 33, take a look at the front end. None of those tires are pointing in the right direction here. The left front not even turning. I don't even think it's touching the ground right there. So it looks like some chassis problems as well. Now, luckily enough, I believe for a couple of these drivers, they may still have had some quick repairs left in their back pocket that could keep them alive here this afternoon, as Lonnie Crider has gotten his car repaired. Looks like Danny White, his car's back together. Jeremy Jeffries. It looks like a lot of these drivers that I had thought and may have already used up their quick repairs, apparently they did not through that first caution flag, and their cars are fixed right back up, back into one good solid piece, and they're ready to get back after it, ready to go back to battle, which should be a much shorter run to the finish of this second stage of the day, as Brian Underwood leads the way down across the line. Will complete lap number 35. The lights are off the official iRacing pace car, meaning we get the 1 to go. And now, with 35 laps completed, we'll go back green flag racing after completing 36 laps. So this means it will be a 4-lap shootout until we complete our second stage of the day and hand out some more stage points for these drivers. And that is a good news here. If you're Underwood or Wesley, maybe even Jordan Hand or Gastons, all those guys maybe with some older tires up there now, kind of rolling at the front of the field. If anyone's back there deeper in the pack, if they've kind of taken some fresh tires here, whether they were down pit road on lap 30 or they're on lap 33, lap 34, if someone back here took some fresh tires, maybe they can work their way up there. But really, we haven't seen too many green laps here throughout the second stage for these guys to burn up what they've got on their race car. So they may be kind of sitting pretty here at the front of the field with that track position and just gotta hit their marks, not make any mistakes, hope not to get ran over like we just saw, and hope that they can put themselves maybe into a good position to not only get some good stage points, but start this final stage of the day in a good spot out there on the racetrack. As they head down and out of the tunnel turn, they'll head back down into the Big Bend here this afternoon, and they'll get ready to go back to battle, man. They'll get ready to get back to duking it out, fighting here on the racetrack as they exit the North Straight down into the Big Bend here. Corner number 3, the pace car will get ready to make the hard left-hand turn back down pit side, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here at the Tricky Triangle. Alrighty, here we go. Down and out of that restart zone, Underwood with a great restart, great launch, able to jump out in front, carry all that speed and momentum down to corner number 1. It looks like Jordan Hand's going to go right there with them, and for the 28 ride, he'll clear the 88 of Grant Wesley, keeping Wesley back there in third. Wesley now has his hands full down and out of corner number 1. As he sees the 72, Jonathan Gaston working down to his inside. Here comes Sean Merriman. Here comes William George. Both working their way right into the battle as they're tight there for third. Oh, man, that was so close. They may be seeing another caution flag, and it's going to open up the door here for William George to not only surpass that 18 of Sean Merriman, but maybe try to get a 2-for-1 down through corner number 3 as he looks to clear the 72 of Gaston and the 88 ride of Grant Wesley as they'll drag race down the front straightaway here, back down to corner number 1 for Jordan Hand and Brian Underwood. This is exactly what they want to see for that restart as they're duking it out, battling door to door back there for that third position. It's allowed Underwood and Hand to kind of pull away here a bit from the rest of the pack. Underwood now has a 1-second gap between himself and our third place driver, Grant Wesley. Wesley back here in that third position, still trying to hang on to it, man. May still need a new pair of underwear after that contact between him and Gaston last time down through that tunnel turn, as they almost went around, almost made a big wreck there again in that second corner on the racetrack, as Wesley able to hold on to that third spot, though. William George slides up into position number 4. Here comes Brengruer. Brengruer is trying to work his way inside the top 5, as we do see one taker Actually, a couple takers coming down pit road. Here comes Brandon Holder. Here comes Danny White and the 22 of Abram Ghostin. They're both going to head down pit road here. Looks like they're looking to flip this stage. So they make their way down pit lane, and they're going to get their cars a little fuel, maybe a little tire, trying to flip the stage and give themselves some good track position at the start of our final stage of the day. But we do see the caution flag come out. This is going to work out, I think, pretty perfectly here for Danny White, Abram Ghostin, Brandon Holder, as they were down pit road. Now with this yellow flag, it's going to get them right into the mix. I believe the 20 of Nicholas Torres going to get tore up out there on the racetrack. Let's take a look at it, see what happens. So Torres kind of in the middle here of 3 wide, coming out at corner number 1. Looks like he loses a lot of speed momentum. Still 3 wide, still 3 wide. Looks like he tries to slide up in behind the number 1 ride here, and unfortunately, there was no room back behind Jeremy Jeffries as the 4 machine had already jumped up there trying to work his way into that opening, and unfortunately here, I believe that 4 ride is... or it's Isaiah Adams right here. Adams, good run, doing exactly what he needed to do, following the line with that number 1 ride. And unfortunately, just going to see Torres tries to fill that hole, tries to jump into that gap, and just did not get the call that they were 2 wide or 3 wide right there. And unfortunately gets into number 4, puts Isaiah Adams and himself up into the outside fence. Now, great piece of driving here by a few of these other drivers to avoid getting tore up in this as well. So they end up into the outside fence here. Obviously, the 4 right Adams needs to try to dish this 20 right as quick as possible. Shoots down the racetrack. Now, Willie Smith does get a little contact into that. Maybe Allen does as well. But you take a look at that 09 rider, Wesley Burke. He's checked up. He's way down on the apron. He's just trying to keep himself out of the carnage as the 4 right able to collect it, keep it rolling, keeps it pointed the right direction. But no major damage there really to anyone else except for that number 4 and the number 20 at Torres. As Torres gets rolling, but not before that caution flag comes out. And with that caution flag, we will see our second stage of the day come to a close. So Brian Underwood will win the stage. Underwood wins stage number 2 this afternoon. Now, we see a couple drivers staying out, so I'm not sure if they are able to still snag stage points here. I don't know if that was the question mark here for some of these drivers, but it looks like they are going to stay out. Now, these guys are probably going to need to come back down pit road here the next time by, but we do see Sean Merriman, Jack Fletcher, Willie Smith, Brian Cook, Jordan Crider, they all stay out. So does Danny White, Abram Ghostin, and Brandon Holder. Now for Danny White, Ghostin, and Holder, they were all down pit road prior to that yellow flag, trying to flip this stage. So I'm not too sure what the game plan is here for our top 5, as they're probably going to have to come down pit road this time. But we do see the battle back off of pit road. Looks like Jonathan Elardo is going to win that race back out onto the speedway. So after pitting on lap number 40, he'll be leading the charge. They are in that 9th position. Brian Underwood back in 10th with Jordan Hand, Grant Wesley, William George. Gastons back in 14th. Burke's in 15th. Then we see Robert Wolf, Melvin Brengruer, Josh Crider, Jeremy Jeffries, Nathan Brookover, our top 20 out there on the racetrack. But for Sean Merriman, Jack Fletcher, Willie Smith, I'm not sure if that was just a strategy call to try to snag some extra stage points there as they were crossing the line, completing lap number 40. I'm not sure if they just thought maybe they would get those points if they still stayed out on the racetrack and did not come down pit road and just planned on pitting a lap later here to try to maybe salvage some extra points. So we'll have to wait and see what the call is from the officials on, who ended up winning that stage, or when the stage officially came to a close, if it was at the caution flag or if it was still at the end of lap number 40s. Now we do see Brian Cooks coming down pit road. Okay, this is really, really interesting. So Cook comes down pit road. Sean Merriman was last down pit road. Oh no, Cook, you can't have those problems during the yellow flag. Making a pit stop here. Gets a pit road speeding penalty. Too fast entering pit road for the 87. That is a very Rookie mistake there out of that 87 ride, and unfortunately for Brian Cook, that will probably give him a pass-through penalty here at the restart of this feature event of this final stage. But now as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, Sean Merriman is out in front. He's got the race lead, but he was last down pit road on lap number 22. So he was last down pit road on lap 22. Now we did see a lot of caution laps there throughout that second stage. Maybe he saved, 7, 8 laps, maybe 10 laps of fuel, but still he's going to have to probably come down pit road here rather quick this afternoon. I don't see how many laps he's going to be able to do here under green flag conditions before having to make a green flag pit stop here in the start of this final stage of the day. Jack Fletcher was leased down pit side back on lap 30. So wasn't Willie Smith in that 75 ride. Jordan Crider was down pit road on lap 33 for that 33 ride. And then obviously we saw Abram Ghostin, Danny White, and Brandon Holder all down pit road just prior to that caution flag as well. So they should be sitting all right. They're fairly close and fairly balanced out here with the drivers that pitted at the end of the stage. But for the 5 guys at the front of the field here, 4 drivers at the front of the field, not too sure what the strategy call is going to be here for them. We'll have to keep a close eye on it, see how it works out here for Merriman, Fletcher, Crider, and Smith here this evening. Is down and out of corner number 3. Pace car will make that hard left-hand turn back down pit side, and here we go back to green flag racing at Pocono Raceway. As the 18 rider Sean Merriman, great launch, great restart, has that Dr. Pepper cherry number 18 right out in front as they start to shuffle around back there throughout the field. Drivers trying to find the edge, trying to find the lane and the run that they're looking for. They're trying to work themselves forward on the racetrack and trying to race their way maybe right back here to the front of the field as Merriman leads us down the Long Pond straightaway here down into the tunnel turn, trying to get a good run and a good drive down through corner number 2 as he looks to keep Jack Fletcher, Willie Smith, and the rest of the field back there at bay. But will we see more cautions, breeding cautions here? We saw a few yellows throughout our second stage of the day. That first stage went clean and green all 20 laps of stage number 1. We didn't see a single caution flag. Obviously we saw the stage caution come out, and then we saw 3 yellows throughout that second stage. Really shorten that one up in a quick hurry. But for all these drivers, what's the game plan now? What is the game plan? What is the strategies? We do see Brian Cook unfortunately having to serve this pass-through penalty. Looks like the 87 will take this opportunity to hit his pit stall again, get some quick little splash of gas and go in here. Maybe even has a hold down pit side. So if he does have to hold down pit road as well, this is going to make his day that much longer and that much tougher. He'll have to be banking on a caution flag to try to get himself back on the lead lap, as a 30-second hold here along with that pit stop will more than likely put him a lap down, as our race leaders are already back down through the big bend here, corner number 3 at Pocono Raceway, and they head back down the longest straightaway here in NASCAR. And I believe as they head down across the front straightaway, they are going to put that 87 of Brian Cook a lap down out there on the track. So that's a tough break there for the 87, as Cook now a lap down out there on the speedway. He's just leaving his pit stall. He'll be looking for a quick caution flag to get that lucky dog back on the lead lap out there on the racetrack. But out in front is Jack Fletcher. Fletcher has the race lead with Willie Smith in position number 2. Brandon Holder's there in third with Danny White, Sean Merriman, our top 5 out there on the racetrack. So for Fletcher, he's able to steal that race lead. And for Fletcher, he's already fallen back into 5th. You got to wonder, whether or not it's the tires or trying to save a little bit of fuel here as we continue to keep on keeping it clean and green. How much farther can Sean Merriman go before he's got to make his way down pit side? As you did see the 88 ride get a little bit squirrely there at a corner number 3. Looked like they had to get checked up there in a quick hurry as the 33 ride, unfortunately losing a lot of speed down that front straightaway. And for Jordan Crider, he's going to fall all the way back into that 18th position. Looks like he's really struggling here in that Lonnie 33 ride. As now here comes Brookover, the 51 ride at TJ Allen right there. And then Here comes Farrell Robbins, Robert Wolf, Nicholas Torres back there in 23rd. Unfortunately for Cook, first and only driver, 1 lap down back there in that 24th position. As Jordan Crider does fall to the rear of the field there in that 23rd position. Last car on the lead lap now out on the racetrack. And looks like, I don't know if he's got a tire going down or some damage there to that left rear quarter panel that may be affecting that race car, and obviously just way off the pace out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that as you see our top 3 starting to split away a little bit. And here comes Willie Smith. Willie looking for the top spot. Smith wants this race lead, but Jack Fletcher is going to look to try to hang on to it as he's got that cellular number 31. Brandon Holder right to his back bumper. The draft and the push down the Long Pond straightaway here into the tunnel turn will help propel that 14 ride. A Fletcher still out in front. So for the rigid Home Depot Pro, number 14 ride, a Jack Fletcher. He'll hang on to the race lead now. Here comes Willie Smith battling back to Brandon Holder, trying to work his way back into position number 2. But our front 3 kind of broken away here from the rest of the field. Danny White back there in position number 4. You see that gap that started to arise for them, and now here we go. 18 rider Sean Merriman finally has to make his way down pit road. So Merriman pits here, completing lap number 47. The Metallica 18 ride heads down pit road. Now, unfortunately, this is going to put him into a bit of a difficult spot out there on the racetrack as well. This is going to put him into a very difficult position because he's going to have to wait quite a while until we see things kind of cycle back around and cycle through here. Obviously getting 4 tires and a full tank of fuel for that Metallica number 18 ride. Where is this going to stack him up with the rest of the field here? You know, in another 10 laps or so when we start to see these guys come back down pit road. We saw them in that first stage. A lot of drivers stretch that fuel out to about 17 laps. And I think we're going to see everybody trying to stretch it that far. 17 laps here. That will put everyone that pitted there at the end of the stage back down pit side, roughly around lap 57, lap 58-ish or so. I mean, they'll probably have to make at least one more green flag pit stop. So I feel drivers are going to split it up maybe a little bit easier on themselves. But I think probably still 15 laps is going to be the call here. Probably that, 14, 15 lap marker is when we're going to see everyone kind of come down pit road, make a pit stop here. They'll have to do that same thing again later in this final stage of the race, but try to lead themselves maybe 10, 12 laps for that final run. So they'll kind of split it into 2 pit stops here throughout this final stage if it stays clean and green. And obviously, for that strategy to work out for them, they need it to stay clean and green. If not, things could get very, very confusing. The calculators are going to be burning burning up here this afternoon as drivers will be trying to figure out what their numbers are, when they need to come down pit side, and how much fuel maybe they're saving throughout these cautions to maybe trying to salvage maybe one pit stop or over the 2 pit stops here, or where their numbers are going to be late in this race and when they need to make an additional green flag pit stop. But for right now, Jack Fletcher out in front. Now Fletcher and Willie Smith, they were last down pit road on lap number 30 compared to a lot of these other drivers that were down pit side on lap 38 or lap number 40 there at the completion of that stage. Now for Danny White, Brandon Holder, and the number 22 of Abram Ghostin, I feel their fuel is going to be really, really comparison. It's going to be really, really much the same as all those other drivers that pitted there during the stage break on lap 40. I don't think they really burned up too much fuel, so they should be fairly balanced and probably be able to make it that 17 laps if need be. But for Jack Fletcher and Willie Smith, they're going to have to head down pit road here sooner rather than later as well. They're going to have to make a green flag pit stop here, I'm going to say in the next couple laps here probably, but when we're going to probably see Willie Smith and Fletcher both down pit road, especially rolling here at the front of the field. They're not really saving much fuel here being at the front of the pack, but if they were to pit right here, I mean, they're kind of 14, 15 lap area, and with only, 30 laps left to go. Technically, this next time by the start-finish line, it'll be 29 laps left to go here in this feature event. So With that being said, you pit now, you kind of get two 15-lap runs, or a 15-lap run and a 14-lap run here for that fuel. I think you're going to be good there on those numbers, so I think we're going to see these guys down pit side at any moment in time, and it's just going to continue to be kind of a mind-boggling kind of strategy call here for a lot of these drivers on what the strategy will be in comparison to, when you have the newer tires compared to the older tires, and how much does it work into your favor, how much does it hurt you out there on the racetrack being, one of the first to kind of come down pit road, make these pit stops, or anything else. So we'll have to wait and see as you look a little deeper in the pack here. TJ Allen's back there still, Farrell Robbins, Brookover, Jeremy Jeffries, Robert Wolf. You gotta wonder if some of these drivers are trying to save a little bit more fuel. For Sean Merriman, you see Sean, he's not too far away from our race leaders here, as we do see Willie Smith. Willie heads down pit side. So Willie Smith shoots down pit road. So doesn't William George. TJ Allen, so a pair of those Great Lakes Sim number 50 ride and 51 ride, the Great Lakes Sims machine, head down pit road here together. Jeremy Jeffries also going to come down pit side there with them, and I think they were kind of hearing what I was putting down here. They pit, completing lap number 52. There's 28 laps left to go here in this feature event. You got to wonder if they're planning on, making, obviously 2 more pit stops, but you kind of run 14 laps here, so they'll probably put you right back down pit side at lap 66. You'll be good on fuel to get to the end of this race after that point in time. So I think for those guys, that's exactly what they're kind of thinking. And now we do see Jack Fletcher this time by. He's headed down pit road. So here he comes. Here comes Brookover as well. He'll hit pit side as well. Now, for a lot of these drivers making these pit stops, you got to be good down pit side as well if you want to give yourself a good opportunity or a good chance at trying to win this race or put yourself into a position. And we did see a bit of a mistake out of that one ride as he head down into his pit stall. You kind of see him, getting in there a little too far. I think he gets in there a little too far right here. And the crew just does not jump over the wall, so he's actually got to throw it in reverse a couple times, back it up, and then go forward and stop. And then finally, the crew starts to go to work and starts to service this one car. Unfortunately, that time right there kind of killed his pit stop. It cost him at least 5-6 seconds down pit side, and that is really going to hurt his chances here this evening. As now, here we go. We see another wave of drivers head down pit side. Here comes Brandon Holder, Jordan Hand, Brian Underwood, Josh Crider, all coming down pit road. So, last season, one of our, this is 3 of our drivers that were a part of our championship 4 down pit side with Josh Crider, Brian Underwood, and Jordan Hand. Brian Underwood is a 2-time champion. Crider won our season 2 championship here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Holder, last year, it was his first season with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Made it to that championship 4. Unfortunately, came a little bit short there in the closing laps, and unfortunately watched the 72 rider Gaston win that championship last season. But all of our champions kind of on the same game plan right there. And for Jordan Hand, he's been a part of that championship for many times here in this series. I think he's been to 3 or 4 championship 4s. Unfortunately, has not been able to win that final race or steal that championship away. He's always kind of been that bridesmaid out there and never got a chance to win the big trophies. Kind of the Denny Hamlin here of the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And for Jordan, great to see him back out there on the racetrack battling here again this afternoon, as we do see Grant Wesley having a little bit of connection issues there. But out in front, it's Danny White who's got the race lead here. Danny jumps out in front. Elardo's there in second. Wesley Burke's back in third. Melvin Brenger, Jonathan Gaston, our top 5 out there on the racetrack with Abram Ghostin, Isaiah Adams, Farrell Robbins, Robert Wolf now in 9th. Grant Wesley. I think Grant Wesley may have lost connection here. It doesn't seem like it's lost connection, but we haven't seen him on the racing surface in a little while, so I don't know if he's just not showing up here in the chat for us. But nonetheless, I think he may have lost connection. Grant Wesley has disappeared here from the server at, 55.42 laps into this race. he has kind of disappeared from the server for us, and we do not see him rolling out there on the racetrack. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if he kind of reappears or if he did lose connection here. And unfortunately, no longer in this feature event as he's fallen all the way back to 23rd and shows us that he's still not rolling out there on the racetrack. So that's a heartbreaker there for the Menards number 88 ride, having himself a good day, a solid drive out there on the speedway. But for Danny White, continues to lead the way now. This is kind of getting into that area where these guys are really going to start to get tight on fuel here. The rest of our race leaders here, the rest of these guys rolling in the front of the field. Now they were down pit side roughly there on lap number 40 at the end of our second stage of the day. Now they've ran about, I'm going to say, 15 laps of green flag racing here since we went back to green flag battling. Definitely had to have been at least, yeah, we kind of went back green flag racing lap 43. So yeah, these guys have ran about that 15 laps here coming up to the start-finish line. So, you know, they're only a lap or two left to go here, left in the tank, until they're going to have to make a pit stop. And now here we go. We're going to see a couple of them head down pit side. You got to watch your speed. You do not want to get a black flag here. It's Danny White, Jonathan Elardo. They head down pit road. Here comes Gaston, Ghostin, Farrell Robbins, the 13 ride in that Gorilla Garage Doors. Number 13 ride is the DL Designs ride. Heads down pit side, getting some work done to that 13 machine. He'll be getting some fuel, some tires, and getting ready to roll back out onto the racetrack. Now Wesley Burke, our pole sitter, our stage 1 winner, the driver that kind of led the charge there throughout that first stage of the day. Back to the point here. This is a spot where he definitely wants to be, as he can lay down some really good lap times, trying to pull away a little bit, trying to help himself out. But obviously fuel is going to be an issue here in a quick hurry for Wesley Burke, Melvin Brengerer, Isaiah Adams back there in that 4 ride, as everyone back behind them has been back down pit road out there on the speedway. Now here comes Isaiah Adams in that Majors Garage, the Carbon number 4 ride, gonna head down pit side, and he's gonna get his pit stop in, so his first green flag pit stop of our final stage of the day. But for Burke and Brengerer, the 9 and 9 ride, stay out there a little bit longer here, at least another lap. So it looks like they're going to pretty much run their tanks dry and run their 17 laps of green flag racing here throughout this first stage of the day. Now, I just don't know what the big plan is here. If they kind of run another 17 laps, they come down pit road right here at the completion of lap number 60. They run another 17 laps, they'll be 3 laps shy of the checkered flag, having to make their second pit stop here of this stage. As here they both come down pit road. Both got to get checked up here. Oh, they're both coming in hot. Oh, luckily enough, they both get checked up in time. No black flags there for anyone throughout that pit cycle. Great break there for those drivers. But now the big question mark is going to be, what is the strategy call here for these guys? What is the strategy call? Do they bank on maybe a caution flag? If there is a yellow flag throughout this final run, they may be good on fuel to get to the end of this race without having to make that additional pit stop. But I think everyone else maybe kind of in that same category, especially if they come back down pit road and get those caution laps as well. They may be good to go as well, so it'll be really interesting here. I feel everyone's still going to have to make at least one more green flag pit stop if this race goes clean and green the rest of the way, and consuming the race lead will be the 28 ride of Jordan Hand and Underwood. Both a little strategy. I don't think they took tires there throughout their pit cycle, and I believe for Jordan Hand and Brian Underwood, that's going to put them out in front. They lead the way. They have about 3.8 seconds between themselves in the 31 of Brandon Holder. Holder rolls there in third. Now on the speedway, Jack Fletcher's there in fourth. Willie Smith in that fifth position. Jonathan Elardo's back in sixth, a little farther back from that group, as Brooke over there in seventh in the number 7 ride. Great recovery here for that 7 machine, as Brooke over finally started to race his way back up inside our top 10. Josh Crider rolls there in that 8th position with William George. Danny White rounding out our top 10 here on the speedway. Wesley Burke, who was just down pit road, he comes out of the pits now in the 11th position with Brengerer there behind him in 12th. Jonathan Gaston, Abram Ghostin, Sean Merriman Isaiah Adams back in 16th, Farrell Robbins in 17th, the 51 ride of TJ Allen there in 18th, and then we do see Nicholas Torres, Robert Wolf rounding out our top 20. He's got Jeremy Jeffries right there behind him in 21st. Jordan Crider scored back in 22nd as Brian Cook back down pit road here. Unfortunately for Cook, he was already kind of cooked here throughout this stage as he had already fallen one lap down. Now making his pit stop. He's going to be really, really close to maybe going 2 laps down out there on the speedways. He's just starting to build up that speed momentum back down through corner number 1. Our race leader is not too far away from his back bumper as they're going to be coming out of corner number 1 right behind him here, and virtually that long pond back straightaway. Kind of the difference maker there between him going 2 laps down or staying 1 lap down and in a good spot out there on the racetrack. Now, we didn't see Grant Wesley able to get back into this race. So I do believe he did get disconnected, and there it is. You do see him reconnect right there. Grant Wesley, you follow that mouse, connected. So it looked like he had lost connection to the server, left the server, came back in. Unfortunately, in that time frame, he did fall, I believe, 4 laps down out there on the racetrack, and that is going to take him probably more than likely out of contention here this evening and out of a pretty solid finish here today as well. As we do see Willie Smith. All right, so this is a bit of a different strategy. Willie Smith going to pit here on lap number 63. Now, they can run 17 laps for a tank of fuel. We saw that throughout the first stage. We saw a few of those drivers doing that there in, the start of this final stage. So he pits here on the completion of lap number 63. He'll have virtually 17 laps of green flag racing left to go. So he comes down pit road. He's getting this pit stop done out of the way right now. If there is a late race caution flag, he knows that everyone else is going to come back down pit side. Everyone else is going to make another pit stop here. And I think he wants maybe that track position over, having the comfort of being out there rolling inside the top 10. So he comes down pit side now, and he's going to bank that there is a caution flag, or if there is no caution flag, that he can get an advantage, roll farther forward, maybe pick up a few more spots here towards the end of this race when everyone else starts to come back down pit side. As we do see Josh Crider, he's back down pit road. So isn't Sean Merriman. So I think they're kind of playing that same strategy. So isn't the one ride of Jeremy Jeffries, as he also comes back down pit side here on lap number 64. And these strategies are going to continue on throughout the day. But for right now, it's Jordan Hand, Brian Underwood, who are 1 and 2 out there on the speedway. Obviously, whatever they have been doing has worked out perfectly for them, because down across the line, they will complete lap number 65. But here they come. They're coming down pit road. They're going for the same game plan. And you take a look at Underwood, carries a little bit more speed into pit lane, and no black flag for him. That'll keep him clean and green. But for the 6th ride, that's going to edge out in front of that Pikachu number 28 ride of Jordan Hand. So if they're going to continue to battle for this race lead, it'll be interesting to see what these two do down pit road. Is this going to bring more drivers down pit side here as well? So Hand into his pit stall. The crew is going to go to work. Looks like he's getting at least right side tires. And no! Nathan Brookover, he comes down pit road as well, and Brookover not only slides through his pit stall, but gets another black flag down pit side. Heartbreaker here for Brookover. He'll have a hold down pit road again. This is probably going to end his chances of a pretty solid run here this afternoon, man. He had battled back through all the adversity. The black flag to start the race, the black flag throughout his pit stop in that first stage, going a lap down, getting the lucky dog, falling behind the field by 6 seconds, getting a caution to get back into the battle, and then here, late in this race, up inside the top 10. But now another black flag, and unfortunately see him held down pit road as the rest of the drivers make their way around him, and he's just going to unfortunately fall back there quite a ways. So we do see Brandon Holder here on lap 66. He's going to head down pit road. He's going to make his pit stop. Brookover still with this hold here. Finally able to get released, finally able to leave pit lane, and unfortunately you see how much time he lost right there, and that's probably going to put him almost a lap down or a lap down out there on the speedway late in this race. Is Jack Fletcher now with the race lead here. We're going to see Fletcher. He's going to make the hard left-hand turn. He'll head down pit road now as well, with only 13 laps of racing action left to go here this evening as these drivers continue to navigate their way down pit side. We'll jump into a very quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family here today, and make sure you guys crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers. Never mind. Caution flag is out. Caution flag is out. So we were going to jump into the Crank It Up, but that's not going to happen. Caution flag is displayed. Man, all I got to do is speak the words and it comes into existence. Now, this may work out nicely for Jack Fletcher as he was just down pit side. We'll see where that kind of lines him up. We did see that Great Lakes Sim number 51 of TJ Allen also down pit road here, making his pit stop at the time of that caution flag, as I believe we're going to see the 64 of Danny White run into some issues here. Where is Danny? Okay, so Danny battling hard here with the 20 right of Nicholas Torres down through corner number 1. It looks like he just gets tight, pushes up the racetrack, gets into that 20 right, and then Brengerer gets into the 64 machine, helps him go around. Obviously for the 20 right, he was already going around there, but that is our yellow flag out there on the speedway, and it's just the 64 right of Danny White trying to take a big run down to the inside here of Torres. Gets tight, pushes up the racetrack, gets into that left rear quarter panel as he's checking up. 9 right does not realize it, gets into him. They get tied together again and washed out into the infield fence. Obviously for him and that 20 right pointed the wrong direction. Spun there around to corner number 1. Caution flag gets displayed here, and a late race yellow flag going to make things very, very interesting, because now that brings into the question mark here for a couple of these drivers. When you look at Wesley Burke, you look at Melvin Brengerer, they pitted back on lap number 60. If they can save 3 laps of fuel throughout this caution, that may put them into a position where they do not have to pit here throughout this yellow flag. I think we're going to see drivers like Jonathan Elardo, who's now our race leader, William George, definitely is going to come down pit side, Gaston, Ghostin, Danny White, Jordan Hand. Jordan Hand's not coming back down pit side, but we will see drivers like Jordan Crider and a few of these other ones definitely making their way down pit side. And now here you go. Here comes Elardo. Here comes George. Looks like Brengerer is going to give up on the strategy. He comes down pit side here. So is Gaston, Ghostin, Danny White, Jordan Crider, Farrell Robbins, Sean Merriman, Robert Wolf. They all come down pit road here. And now, good news for Brian Cook, as I believe Cook is going to get the lucky dog, the free pass, back on a lead lap here. So great break there for the 87 ride of Mr. Cook, as he'll get back into the battle, back into the action here this evening. Actually, might not. With those extra yellow flags, or with those extra pit stops, I think it's Jeremy Jeffries that is in the lucky dog position. Jeremy had went a lap down. Unfortunately for Brian Cook, they'll save him from going 2 laps down, but he will not be in line for the lucky dog. And with having a lot of these drivers stay out in front of them, they will not get the lucky dogs back into the action. But for Burke, he stays out. He will now be in the top spot here. Fuel is going to be really, really tight for him in these closing laps, but it's going to be really interesting to see if that, clean air being back out in front, if Burke can hold him off and put himself right back up into victory lane. Willie Smith there in second, Underwood in third. Josh Crider's back there in fourth with Brandon Holder, our top 5 out there on the speedway. Isaiah Adams in position number 6 now with Jack Fletcher there in 7th. TJ Allen in 8th. And then we see Jordan Hand, Melvin Brengerer, our top 10 out there on the speedway. Danny White's back in 11th with Jonathan Elardo. William George there in 13th. Abram Ghostin, Jonathan Gaston, our top 15. Jordan Crider, Robert Wolf, Sean Merriman, the 76 of Farrell Robbins, the 1 of Jeremy Jeffries, our top 20, all on the lead lap here. Inside the top 20 is Nicholas Torres. Looks like he's the first driver now, 1 lap down. Same with Brookover and Brian Cook. They'll be in a battle here for the lucky dog. late in this race. If another late race caution flag is displayed, they'll be ready to pounce, ready to try to use it to their advantage as we'll get ready to rock and roll. We'll get ready to go back to battle here for what is going to be a 9-lap shootout when we go back to green flag racing. So we're going to get a quick break in here. We'll do a lap or two of our Crank It Up, but for right now, we're going to get a little bit of music. I'm going to get a quick drink into us, and we'll get ready to rock and roll here and finish out what has been a very exciting night here at the Tricky Triangle.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Track's a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room.
Alrighty, as we're going to get ready to crank it up, the caution flag is going to come right back out here. So cautions, definitely breeding cautions. We are getting ready to crank it up for a lap or two, but we'll continue on with the music as it seemed like there was some issues here deeper in the field coming to the restart zone in the 88 rider, Grant Wesley, who's multiple laps down here. Things just kind of stack up. Oh, man, I don't know. Where does this stack up start? Because things definitely piled up here in front of this number 88 ride. Maybe take a look up here at Melvin Brengruer, the 51 machine, at TJ Allen as they head down into that Geico restart zone. You can look at the purple car, the black car right there. I think they just kind of stack up a little bit into the restart zone. And unfortunately, it just kind of, everything just kind of gets bottlenecked right there. 51 checks up, 9 gets into his back bumper. He checks up the 3, the 22, the 33. Eventually, it comes to that 88 ride of Grant Wesley. And for Grant and the 18 ride they're a little farther back here. They're a little farther back. They're trying to get a big run here on these restarts, being back that much farther, trying to get a little extra jump here. And obviously, as they're checking up, Jordan Crider gets onto the binders. The 18 ride gets onto the binders. He gets into the outside fence. The 88 ride helps him in there a little farther. The 87 helps the 88 ride into it as well, as all three of those drivers get some pretty solid contact and damage onto the race cars. The 18, the 88, and the 87 ride all getting some pretty good damage right there. But for Grant Wesley, turn sideways there on the racing surface, going the wrong direction. That brings the caution flag out, and unfortunately, that will put us right back under the yellow flag, and another restart on the horizon here for each and every one of these drivers. We'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to try to do it all over again here as we'll get another little short break, and we'll get ready to get right back into the action in just a couple more moments.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels. Heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds. Grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal. Victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms. The checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels. Heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds. Grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal. Victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms. The checkered flag, it seals the room.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go, getting ready for what could be our final restart on the evening. As we got Lonnie Crider on board with us here, good in-car look here at Mr. Crider as we get ready to rumble, ready to go back to battle, as it will be a 5-lap shootout, biting another caution flag here in a little NASCAR overtime. We have 5 laps of racing action left to go here from Pocono at the Tricky Triangle. Man, it has been a wild show, a great race, some great action here this afternoon, and it is going to be a very, very exciting end to this feature event. Now, for Burke, we talked about him maybe being a little tight on fuel, maybe being in a tough spot there if it was only that one caution flag. Now, I think with this additional yellow flag, Burke has been able to save that much fuel here. He's going to be in that much better of a position going into this restart. A shout out to Mr. Crider for having his webcam turned on for us here this afternoon. As here we go. Pace car makes a hard left-hand turn back down pit side, and we will get ready to go back to green flag racing. A little bit of a stack up there on the inside lane. Kind of breaks up that inside groove, but for our race leader, gets the launch that he was looking for. And Burke hoping to try to keep these guys back there at bay for the final 5 laps of this feature event as they're spread out 2, 3, 4 wide. Back there behind them, everyone's trying to find their way to the front of the field. As here comes Underwood, rolling to the outside of Willie Smith. Willie trying to keep himself right there in the battle as look at him squirrel down the long pond back straightaway here into the tunnel turn, man. Oh, they are using up every inch of the racing surface here this evening as Jordan Hand trying to work his way underneath that 5 right of Josh Crider. Hang on to it. Jonathan Elardo washes up, almost got into that outside fence here down the back straightaway into the big bend, corner number 3, but you do see Crider able to try to hold on to this 5 right, but he's got a lot of fast cats navigating their way around this 5 machine and the 3 right of Elardo as they fall back here a little bit on this restart. Willie Smith falling all the way back now into that 6th position as Lonnie Crider jumps up in front of him, and here we go. Wesley Burke falls all the way back now into 3rd, may fall back into 4th as Underwood works his way around him down the front straightaway. Underwood now leads the way. Brandon Holder's in second. Burke will sit in third. Jordan Hand going to use that outside momentum and that little bit of a draft. The reel around the 14 ride of Jack Fletcher. Fletcher will fall back into fifth here. Now going to look to try to hold off Willie Smith for that fifth position as Fletcher trying to work his way right back into the battle. But look at Jordan Hand, man. He is showing some good speed out of that Pikachu number 28 ride as he rolls that Chevrolet down the front straightaway. They're beating and banging, bouncing off of one another. Back there deeper in the pack is a pair of those Great Lake Sims number 50 ride, the 51, the Great Lake Sim rides battling door to door back here. Newcomers to the series as we do see Willie Smith a little sideways down into corner number one. He's got it collected. He's got it rolling here. Keeps it pointing the right direction. Unfortunately, loses a ton of track position. Goes from battling just outside our top five all the way back into the 18th spot on the speedway. That loss of momentum down these long straightaways unfortunately just killed the run of the 75 ride. But for our race leader, Brian Underwood, man, he knows these laps are clicking down in a quick hurry. He does not want to see another caution flag, another restart here. He wants to see it stay clean and green. Hope that he can use the clean air and maybe dump it a little dirty air onto the nose of that 31 of Brandon Holder. We'll keep Holder, Burke, Fletcher, Hand, and the rest of the field back there at bay and for our two-time champion here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League, hoping to try to find victory lane here at Pocono Raceway as Underwood, Holder, 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack. What does Wesley Burke got left in store here? He's got a little bit older tires, but there's the caution that none of them wanted to see. Oh no, Abram Ghostin is around. Huge hit here for the Ghost ride as the 22 ends up with some solid damage. Big hit there for the 22 ride. Let's take a look at it, see what happens as, looks like, the Great Lakes Sim Machine, the 51 ride, or the 50 ride of William George, had a great run going here this evening. Looks like he's going to get some contact as it looks like the 3 ride, there's contact between them, so it looks like the 3 down the front straightaways, losing a little speed, a little bit of momentum. Not sure if he tries to get into the line right there, but there's a little contact between the two of them down the back or on the front straightaway. Not sure if this kind of led into it. If this led into some of the contact and maybe a little retaliation down at the corner number 1. The 3 kind of wants to fill that hole in between the 50 and the 64. They're tight together, and it just looks like the 50 kind of comes down maybe a little bit into the 3 ride to make a little contact there down the front straightaway. I'm not sure if the 3 ride liked that or not. Let's take a look here as the 3 machine going to shoot it down into corner number 1. Sees Branguer now to his outside as well, as Branguer gets a good run there. He's lost all that speed and momentum, but he's trying to gain it all back here into corner number 1. Shoots it deep down low on the inside groove, and it looks like he's just going to drive it in there deep. Car kind of slides and pushes up the racetrack, and where he gets right into that left rear quarter panel of the 50 ride, gets checked up, drives up and around him. Great piece of driving by Adams to avoid it as well, but for the 50 ride, obviously trying to keep this thing pointed in the right direction, trying to keep it rolling. Unfortunately, not a whole lot he could do right here, and for this 50 car, he's just going to end up going back around up the racetrack here, and I believe this is where more of these drivers are going to get collected. Right there, Ghostin. Man, just nowhere for Ghostin to go. Abram trying to get around this, trying to keep himself out of it. Unfortunately, right here, he looks like he's clear, but the 50 bounces back off of the outside fence right into that right rear quarter panel of the 22 ride. Shoots him around. He ends up backed up into the outside fence as well there. Big hit as well for the 1 ride of Jeremy Jeffries as he gets a piece of it, but that's all it takes. A couple big hits, and unfortunately another late race caution flag, and now headed to NASCAR overtime here this evening. Now, we talked about the fuel for Wesley Burke and how it was probably good. Those couple cautions there probably made us feel A-okay. But now with a little NASCAR overtime, that may make the fuel that much tighter, the 09 machine. I don't know how much fuel he's going to have left in the tank here, especially after another couple green flag laps. If you'll be good enough to be able to make it to the end of not only one, but if we go to 2 or maybe 3 NASCAR overtimes, will he have to finally come down pit road here and get fuel and give up all the track position and the spot that he has out there on the racetrack? But we'll get them all ready to rumble, ready to go back to green flag racing here. What will be a green-white checkered finish. 2-lap shootout here to finish off this race. So, in this green-white checker, we will take the green flag. The next time back around will be the white flag. If the drivers take the white flag, the next flag will end this race no matter what. But if there is a caution flag prior to the white flag being displayed, then we will stack them up, we will rack them up, and we will do it all over again. So if you're Brian Underwood, Brandon Holder, some of these guys may be out in front, or if you're a little tighter on fuel like the 09 of Wesley Burke, seeing that white flag come out and only having one NASCAR overtime is probably going to be the thing you want to see here this evening. But if we do go to a couple NASCAR overtimes, the drivers that are tighter on fuel, things get a little bit more hairy for them here late in this race. So we'll keep a close eye on that and see how these drivers are shaping up, and if they have to make some late race pit stops for a splash of gas and going here to make it another green-white checker or not. But we do see the lights turn off the official iRacing pace car, and that means we are ready to go back to battle. We are ready to duke it out here once again as we are past our 80-lap amount here and a little overtime to settle things here at the Tricky Triangle, man. No better way to finish off the night than obviously a green-white checkered, and these guys to really duke it out here at the front of the field. Underwood's going to be looking for a huge restart. Obviously, he's going to have Burke right there on his back bumper. Burke's going to be looking to try to push that 6 right as hard as he can, probably down into corner number 1, hoping that Underwood maybe overshoots it, washes up the racetrack, allows Burke to maybe try to steal that race lead again here. And obviously, you're going to look at Holder, that outside lane with Fletcher there on his back bumper. They're going to be looking for the best jump that they can to try to stay door-to-door with Underwood and with Burke down into corner number 1 to give themselves a chance, an opportunity here to maybe take that late race lead and put themselves up and into the winner's circle here this evening as the pace car going to get ready to make the hard left-hand turn back down pit side here as they head down through the tunnel turn here at Pocono Raceway, man. We got this time, it's going to be 6 corners left of racing action. 6 corners here, 2 laps, 5 miles, and a lot of beating and banging left to go here this afternoon. And that is biting. Not seeing another caution flag and another NASCAR overtime here, so that may be extended even farther here for these drivers for what was scheduled as a 80-lap feature event, now going to be at the minimum 84 laps of racing action. So here we go. Down and out of corner number 3, the pace car back down pit side. They head into that Geico restart zone, and here we go. Big restart there for Underwood. He timed it perfectly as Burke tried to get a jump, got into his back bumper, gave him a great launch, and it allows that number 6 to clear the 31 of Brandon Holder, exactly what he needed to do. Down into corner number 1, it keeps the 09 off his back bumper. Now they're battling door-to-door for position number 2 out there on the speedway. As they're tied together, though, back behind them, look out, they're wrecking here, and the caution flag is back out. Caution flag is displayed once again. Parking lot down the Long Pond back straightaway. Heavy damage here to Sean Merriman. Jordan Crider absolutely tore up. William George, another one of those Great Lakes Sims rides out there on the racetrack. The Great Lakes Sim machine of William George tore up. Looks like Brian Cook, heavy damage there on the 87. After getting the lucky dog, getting back on the lead lap here, he's absolutely tore up out there on the racetrack. The 4 ride of Isaiah Adams. Not sure what he's doing behind him. I don't know if he's just trying to help him around here or waiting for him to go down pit side or what the game plan is, but he is definitely just working all over the back bumper of the 87. There he goes, finally around the 87 machine. But let's take a look back here and see what happens now. White flag was just displayed. So the white flag is out. there only one NASCAR overtime here this afternoon, chat? Normally it shows 1 of 3. Or 2 of 3 here. It does not show that this time, and the white flag has been displayed. Take a look back at the start-finish line. Take a look at the flag man here. Does he have the yellow flag or the white flag out? Let's get the yellow flag out. So I'm not sure if this is just SDK playing with us or not. If this is our overlay playing with us. We'll have to wait and see, because we do not want to see this race end under caution. But it's happened in the past. It may happen again here this evening. For Brian Underwood, he's hoping that it is over. Brandon Holder, Wesley Burke, Jack Fletcher, Josh Crider, the rest of our field, they want to see another restart. They want another opportunity, another chance to try to put themselves up and into the winning position. But here we go, down the front straightaway. Checkered flag is showing that it's coming out here. Take a look here. We'll see the flag man. I don't know if he's going to display the checkered flag or not, but it shows that the checkered flag, there it is. So the checkered flag is displayed under caution. Only one NASCAR overtime here this evening, and it's Brian Underwood who picks up the dub here this evening. Underwood, oh man, it's all about being in the right place at the right time. And for Brian Underwood, he finds victory lane here at Pocono. The tricky triangle playing his tricks on us here this evening. Unfortunately, though, one NASCAR overtime, man. That was a bit of a surprise to us here this afternoon. I didn't see that one coming. Normally, it's always 3 NASCAR overtimes. I don't know why it was only 1 NASCAR overtime here this evening, or if that was just an iRacing thing, because, man, that is definitely a big oop right there, Mr. Grimm. Big oop right there. That is a big oof. But for Underwood, he'll take it. He'll be happy about it. He picks up the dub. He gets to celebrate here this evening in the beautiful Pocono Raceway, as Brandon Holder will come home in second. Wesley Burke will round out our podium. Jack Fletcher and Josh Crider, our top 5 out there on the speedways. Let's take a look back and see what brings out this caution flag, as we were getting going here. I mean, it looked like we were going to be good down in through corner number 1, but on the exit, like maybe Jonathan Elardo running into some more issues right here. Okay, well, Elardo caused another caution flag late in this race. We saw that same thing happen to him earlier in this race, and it was the same car that he pinched up into the outside fence. Not sure if the 4 comes down or if the 3 comes back up towards the fence here. Looks like the 3 definitely comes up. I don't know if he just thought he had more room there, but unfortunately Adams was there, and they get tangled together, and for those 2, they get put up into the outside fence. They watch all these other drivers roll around them, and unfortunately the cars right behind them end up kind of getting the worst end of the deal here. The 7 right of Brookover trying to battle back into this race. Tries to avoid it, washes down the racetrack to try to avoid the 3 and the 4 ride. Ends up just getting clipped there by the 76 machine. There's the 50 ride. Great Lakes Sim machine, nowhere for him to go, as he ends up getting hard contact into those 2, then into the 18 ride. Here comes Jordan Crider and 87, and everyone just keeps piling into it. The 1 ride of Sean Merriman, he's trying to play dodge car out there, trying to work his way through it. Unfortunately, a ton of tore up race cars here on those closing laps, and unfortunately that is the caution that closes out this feature event, as Matt says number 3 thinks his car is twice as thin as it actually is. Shame. It is definitely a shame. Definitely tough there. I don't know if he has a spotter, in the Discord with him, or if he's got a spotter, through his ears or not, that to tell him whether or not he's clear or not there. But definitely the second time we saw him run into that issue out there on the speedway, or he's driving with a keyboard and panics laugh out loud. I mean, I've known of a couple guys who've raced with keyboards. It never plays out well. Man. I don't know too many guys that stick with a keyboard or even really run too many leagues with keyboards. That is for certain. But that is definitely a good question. I mean, maybe he does. I don't know if he's got a setup and a wheel and everything else, but Definitely a weird one, but nonetheless, we'll get ready to pull in our race winner. That number 6 ride of Brian Underwood. Underwood picks up the win, picks up the checkered flag here as homeboy driving with How to Arca. Book open. Yeah, absolutely. Or watching Cletus McFarland highlights or something. Maybe that's what he was watching there throughout the broadcast. Maybe you just had the Cletus McFarland highlight book there, and unfortunately got tied up, tore up there a couple times, caused a couple issues. I mean, it happens. Some guys just have off nights. Sometimes it just does not work out for them, or just sometimes the tricky triangle, man, it just strikes out there. It's tough to tame. It's tough to navigate your way out there, but nonetheless, we'll get ready to pull our race winner and the rest of our top 3 up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Brian, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Ryan, man, what a run. What a race for you, brother. We knew you were going to be tough here. A lot of these drivers, they knew you were going to be one of those cars to beat here this evening, and you proved it late in this race. Obviously, some great pitch strategy between you and the number 28 rider, Jordan Hand. We saw you guys kind of in really good position before these late race caution flags started to fly, and then obviously there in these closing laps. On that one restart, you're able to get a good enough launch, a good enough battle there. You work yourself around Wesley Burke, and Holder goes with you. We see Hands trying to go with you there. He's right in that battle, but it pushes you to the point, and once you got out in front, the caution flags started to fly here late in this race. You're able to just hit your marks on these restarts, not open up the door for the guys back there behind you, and you're able to just drive this thing into victory lane, which was a bit of a surprise here to us. I thought we would have our regular 3 NASCAR overtimes, and we ended up with only the one, so that one kind of caught us off by surprise, but nonetheless, you get to celebrate here, picking up the checkered flag under the caution flag. We never like to see it end that way, but I'm sure for yourself, you definitely like seeing that white flag and checkered flag fly there, and not having to deal with 1 or 2 more restarts here and having these guys hassle your back bumper.
Yeah, I mean, the race was just kind of stay out of the hornet's nest all night long. Yeah, the session was my goof. I somehow did 3 fast repairs and only 1 green and white checkered, so that was my goof. And sitting thinking back, as I said when we were getting ready to start the race, we haven't used many green white checkers. I can't remember the last time we needed 2. So conveniently, I win when I screwed it up. So I kind of feel bad about that. I was very appreciative of Holder there at the end. He kind of pushed me on the one restart, kind of helped me get going, because it's hard to get going on second place on the restarts. And I was just able to hold him off after that. And yeah, the pit strategy me and Jordan had, we were golden. We just took 2 tires on both pit stops, or at least we were supposed to, but I screwed up, took 4 tires and slid my box, but in the end that probably helped me out because caution came out right after that. So it was just a night of ups and downs, but good points, more playoff points, and yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, definitely a great race. Definitely played out perfectly for you here this evening as you pick up the checkered flag. You get to celebrate here at Pocono, man. But obviously through these late race caution flags where you're a little bit nervous there. Obviously Burke has shown a lot of speed. Holder's always a threat, and then you throw in, drivers like Fletcher, Hand, Crider right into the mix here, with a couple extra, late race restarts. Were you a little bit worried that, one of them maybe get a little too aggressive, maybe give you that bump and run and move you up and out of the way here and allow a lot of these drivers to get back around you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few drivers I would watch. Like I said, I felt comfortable with Holder behind me, so I just tried to help him with the draft as much as I could there. And yeah, just some people, you know who you want, and I think when it comes to the last turn, it is what it is, as long as it's not a kamikaze move. But you just try to set yourself up for the right position, and I felt I did good on the restarts, enough to get a launch. But if you can hold the lead going into a tunnel turn, I felt good. Yeah. So I was able to do that and just kind of pull it off.
Absolutely. Pull it off and pull yourself up and into the Pocono Raceway victory lane. Brian, who'd you like to thank here this afternoon, man, for another great race, another great run, and great performance here on the Speedway?
Yeah, I gotta thank for you putting on the show every week. I mean, if you're sick as a dog, whatever, you're the most reliable broadcaster we've ever had. I appreciate your consistency and your product that you put out. Gotta thank the teammates. Nathan's been showing a lot of speed. He's getting better. He's just got a couple oops moments, and he's gonna be right there. And then yeah, I think all the guys that showed up. It's kind of encouraging. The chat and the Discord's pretty positive. If you taken fault for incidents, which I mean, I don't know how wild it was, but sometimes it seemed like 4 or 5 wide. I thought. So I overall did the drivers did a pretty good job, and yeah, that's all.
Absolutely, yeah. Some pretty great racing here this evening. Some awesome battles out there on the racetrack, and you guys put on a wicked show for us here this evening. It's funny that you say, talking about me with consistency. I'm actually kind of half blind in my right eye right now. I took a PEX pipe to the eyeball Tuesday. And yeah, it's been a rough week for your boy here. Just trying to be able to keep my eye open or see at all. So yeah, definitely most consistent, man. Even half blind, we're still here. We're still showing up and putting on these shows for all the fans of the stands.
Damn, that's pretty damn impressive. You go from pretty bad sick to bad eye.
Yeah,
Man, that's consistently bad luck there. Hopefully it turns.
yeah. If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all.
Oh shit. Oh well, that's how my season has felt mostly. I mean, there for a while, my best finish was eighth. I've just been lucky the last 2 out of 4 weeks to get a win. So
Yeah,
take what you can get, right?
absolutely. Always take what you can get, man. As heck of a run, heck of a show for you here this evening, brother. Congratulations on the win here at Pocono Raceway. We can't wait to see you guys back in action again next Saturday night, and maybe see you right back in here in Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. See you then.
Absolutely enjoy the rest of your night, and don't party too hard down there in Victory Lane.
I won't. I got work in the morning.
All right, brother. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Mr. Brian Underwood, man. What a run, what a drive there for Mr. Underwood. If you guys are squeamish, do look away here. We were talking about how we took a pipe to the eye on Tuesday. This was my eyeball. This was 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I mean, it's tough to see right there because I can't even keep it open. I gotta peel it open there with my hand. But yeah, my eye is still pretty messed up. It is still very, very blurry. Can't really focus in on anything, and definitely still very, very red. So your boy's been going through it. It's been a tough week. Eye injuries, man, they are kind of the absolute worst. And I don't wish eye injuries on anybody, man. It is tough to deal with, man. It was hard. I mean, just being able to walk or have depth perception, I couldn't work. We ended up missing actually 2 broadcasts on Tuesday and Wednesday. Luckily enough, we were off Thursday. Friday we were back up here obviously last night for a race. It was tough, man. The same thing, trying to, focus in and read names or read numbers on the screens, man. It was very, very hard to read comments and stuff too. We really gotta hone in and really try to focus as hard as we can to read every single thing we can and give you guys all the correct information. But nonetheless, we'll keep on battling, we'll keep on digging, and we'll be ready here again tomorrow for some more amazing racing as we get ready now to pull in our second place finisher here this evening, the 31 ride, Mr. Brandon Holder. Hey, Brandon, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
I do.
Brandon, man, great run, great race for yourself here this evening, brothers. Yeah, pull the 31 ride up and into a podium finish here. A solid second place run this afternoon, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind.
It was a long race for sure with the amount of cautions. Caution laps around here pretty long.
Yeah.
But it was a good race. Other than that, It's just with the draft at this track. I mean, there's a lot of running over each other at the end of the straightaway. It's just a tough track to navigate in that aspect.
Yeah, definitely a tough track. I mean, they call it the tricky triangle for a reason because, yeah, you guys are kind of parked right on top of one another for majority of these races, especially in these late race restarts. Everyone's trying to get every inch they can out there on the racetrack, and unfortunately, here this afternoon, I mean, fortunate for Brian Underwood that he made the mistake, but I don't think he added in more than to one green white checkered, and obviously we see this race end under the yellow and doesn't give you and Burke, Fletcher, Crider, any of these guys another chance or opportunity to try to go after Underwood for the win this afternoon. And obviously, you guys don't want to see it end that way, but unfortunately, mistakes happen, things happen, and unfortunately, there just did not get another opportunity at that. But what was kind of going through your mind there when you kind of realized that, the white flag had been displayed and that this race was going to end under yellow and that you weren't going to get another shot or another opportunity to go after that six machine?
Well, I mean, we all knew the situation. We knew that there was only one green white checkered, and we also knew that more than likely there was going to be a wreck. So it just depended on where it was. I was hoping to at least get through turn two, which I mean, you never know. Burke could have jumped under me there, and no telling what could have happened. So I'm happy with second. I'll absolutely take it.
Absolutely able to survive some mayhem, some carnage out there on the racetrack, and able to come home with a very solid points day here at Pocono Raceway. Brandon, who would you like to thank for another great run and strong performance out there on the speed?
I want to thank the guys that put the series on, Brian and Josh. I want to thank you for the broadcast. Want to tell Grant Wesley I got into the guy last week, and at the end of the stage there, rubbed him a little bit there, got in too hot. So I don't want to make that an every week thing, but just want to apologize for getting into him and all the carnage I caused last week.
Absolutely, rather. Well, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this week at Pocono as you come home in position number 2. Brandon, congratulations on the great run, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth, maybe one spot better here next Saturday night.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
You as well.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for the 31 of Brandon Holder as Holder comes home with the second place finish here this evening. Now, we're going to try to drag in our third place finisher, the number 09 of Mr. Wesley Burke. Let's get Burke up here into the booth. Hey, Wesley, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Oh, maybe, sir.
Wesley, brother, great run, great drive for you here this evening, man. Take us back through. It is obviously a very quick car here this evening. You qualify on the pole. You virtually lead everything there in that first stage on your way to winning the first stage, and then all of a sudden things get a little bit more broken up there throughout stage number 2. You get tied up in a couple wrecks there after Brian Underwood gets into you down into corner number 2. You get bounced around, you get some damage, you kind of go back down pit side, get that car fixed up. You get tied up in a couple more issues, and you're just trying to battle back there. And late in this race, obviously playing a little bit of a different strategy call, pitting there on lap number 60, being able to stretch that fuel out there to make it to lap 60, banking on a late race caution flag or two to work into your favor, and it played out nicely for you where you didn't have to make that additional green flag pit stop. Unfortunately, though, on that restart, Underwood, Holder, these guys were able to work themselves around you. And then, obviously, with these couple late race restarts, not a lot of time or opportunities to try to go back after Underwood or Holder for second or first out there on the racetrack to try to put yourself up in the victory lane. But, brother, take us back through. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I felt really good out front with the whole, how I was handling it. I mean, there was one time where Holder almost got me, but was able to pull back out and then just control. I mean, I felt really good up front, but like, I don't know. The Once I got back in traffic, it was just so hard to pass. I made some passes on the outside of turn 2. They got stacked up trying to all get to the bottom to pit once, and I gained a bunch because of that. But my goal in the stage 3 was just stay out as long as possible. I had like .1 fuel when I got into my box, and then my goal was to do a fuel only stop at the very end of my fuel run, and so I'd have a really short pit stop. But other than that, I wasn't. When the caution came out, I wasn't happy, and then I realized, well, I could save. And I was hoping for a bunch of quick cautions, but I wasn't hoping. But the caution didn't come quick enough, and I missed the turn in on turn two, and just got on the gas too hard, so got on the wall, lost 2 spots, and then you just can't pass. So that was it.
Yeah, that was it. That's all she wrote, but you hang on still for a very solid top 3 performance here this evening. Wesley, who would you like to thank for another great run and great drive out there on the racetrack?
I'd like to thank you in the booth.
Well, Wesley, great run, great drive out there, man. A hell of a performance here this afternoon for that Blue Bulls 09 ride. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack again next Saturday night, and hopefully maybe 2 spots better and up here into Victory Lane.
Oh yeah, is it next week, New Hampshire? Oh yeah, going for the win there. Love New Hampshire. Probably
Alrighty.
favorite NASCAR track.
All right. Well, we look forward to it, man. We'll keep the cameras on you, see what you can do, and see if you can come through with a dub here next Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah,
Beauty, enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, the 09 Wesley Burke, as Burke comes home in position number 3. Great run, great drive, great performance here by Burke and the rest of our top 3 and the rest of our field. Man, these guys put on a hell of a show for us again this afternoon. Obviously, Underwood with the dub. Holder there in 2nd. Burke coming home in 3rd. Jack Fletcher, our boy Fletcher there in 4th. And Josh Crider running at our top 5. Great runs there for Fletcher and Crider late in this race to come home with some top 5 performances there. Jordan Hand comes home back in that 6th position with Danny White, Melvin Brengruer, Isaiah Adams, his first race here in that number 4 ride, even after getting tied up on that final lap. He's able to hang on to a 9th place run with Willie Smith rounding at our top 10 there. Great run there for Willie Smith as he comes home in position number 10. Then we saw last season's champion Gaston back at 11th with Robert Wolf, TJ Allen, Abram Gostin, Ryan Cook, Jeremy Jeffries, William George, Jonathan Elardo, Farrell Robbins, and Jordan Crider rounding at our top 20 with Brookover, Sean Merriman, Nicholas Torres, Grant Wesley, Scott Lee, and John Sheen rounding out our top 26 here this evening. Now, John Sheen did not get out onto the speedway here for this feature event. Unfortunately for Scott Lee, only ran about 6.5 laps. Obviously, we saw Grant Wesley get tied up in a couple of those incidences. He lost connection to the server, went multiple laps down there in this race, and obviously we saw a lot of these other drivers that were having good runs, solid performances, get tied up there late in this race, including, Jeremy Jeffries, Abram Gostin, Brian Cook. You look at William George, Elardo, Farrell Robbins, Crider, Brookover, Merriman, all having some pretty solid runs there, pretty good drives, and looking to just, salvage a good finish here this afternoon. Unfortunately, getting tore up there in that final caution flag of the day, and unfortunately not the performances that they were hoping for here this evening. But good news is that they'll be able to fix their cars, get them repaired, and get back into the racing action again next Saturday night. We'll see these guys right back in action and see who can find victory lane there in New Hampshire. Obviously, Wesley Burke feels like he's going to have the speed in the car and maybe the extra track knowledge to be able to try to get it done there next Saturday night. So we'll be looking to see that 09 right at the front of the field, trying to dominate there at New Hampshire, as we'll see the Premium Stock Car Racing League back in action there next week. But thank y'all for watching here tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in and enjoying some amazing racing action here at Pocono Raceway. Unfortunately, that will do it for us here this evening. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the like button on the broadcast for us, just that thumbs up button, and then hit that subscribe button as well. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. As that will do it for us up here in the booth. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and love, and we'll see y'all back here in the next one. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out, chat.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. Screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered